good seeing you.
We had people miss the parade just to be first in line.
Oh, well, they were smart. They were smart. It is cold. Okay. How y'all doing?
Doing good, and you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I'm doing good.
Getting warmer, huh?
Oh, I want to get warmer. How's everything going today?
Good.
Okay. You want me to sign that for you?
That one is to Lily.
Lilly.
Yes, sir. See, no, that's the. Spell it out. Because I'm going to.
There you go, Lily.
That one is for me. This is Sylvia.
Sylvia, all right.
Yeah.
Have you read that book yet?
No, I sure haven't.
You're going to enjoy it.
We're at Carolyn's Florals and Gifts in downtown Muleshoe, and we're talking with the legendary Terry Funk of Amarillo. And Terry, have you been in Muleshoe before?
About 100 times with Jim Young over there on the other side of you right there. He and I played football up at West Texas many years ago together.
Jim, what years was that?
It would be, it would be just a few years ago. It wasn't very. 63, 4, 5, 6, 7, right in there. 68.
Okay.
I was young then,
and he was old.
I used to watch him when I was a kid. That's actually what I did.
And so, actually, where were you born, Terry?
Well, I wasn't born in Texas. I was born in Hammond, Indiana, but my father came down here whenever I was about 4 years old, and we've been down here ever since. And he came down here and got affiliated with Kel Farley and Boys Ranch and was superintendent out there for about 4 years.
Your dad was?
Yes, ma'am.
Wasn't it sort of rocky when he came, Cal Farley's Boys Ranch, having a struggle, and he really put it on its feet?
Well, that's really true. Cal was busy just trying to collect money and trying to keep the thing going at that time and having a rough time, and he is having to try to find some money somewhere from somebody, and he's had a superintendent out there before my father that he just kind of boarded himself up in the house. Those kids kind of ran him into a hole out there, and they needed somebody with some, that could handle young kids, and he picked out my father, of all people.
And now, how did your father actually come to Texas? Why, and what connection? Was there anything with Muleshoe and a resident of Muleshoe now?
Absolutely, old Tex Riley there. Many.
And who was Tex Riley?
Well, Tex would be Claude Riley's brother.
And, of course, Claude Riley lives in Muleshoe.
Yes, he does. And my father was in Ohio right after he got back from the war, World War II, and he was up in Ohio wrestling in that area, and Tex Riley was up there. He said, Dory, you ought to go down to Amarillo. I said, they got a pretty good junior heavyweight division down there, and you ought to go down there and give it a try. And that's where my father came out of.
That's how it all came about. Now, your parents had how many children?
Just my brother and I.
And you're the youngest, right?
Yeah, not too young anymore.
He's not the best looking one either.
No, wait a minute, Jim.
Now, what I want to know, did you ever wrestle your brother?
I did one time in Japan. One time. They had a tournament, and naturally he's the older brother, and I was the younger one, and I certainly didn't win. And it wasn't much fun either.
But now,
I got spanked that day.
Tell me about what year did your dad actually go into the ring the very first time?
It was in right after the war. It was about 1946.
And when did you go in for your first match?
Well, I went into my first match in 1965.
In 1965. And so you've retired several times.
Well,
Come back several times.
Well, I have, but I had about, there's no telling how many times that I've wrestled, and especially around this area, and it was a great experience, and I didn't wrestle in Muleshoe, but I'd come to Clovis, that's pretty darn close, and wrestle in Lubbock, and wrestle in Hereford, and wrestle all over the entire area. It was, it was an area where you wrestled was however far you could drive in a day,
And so did you have a manager?
Never had a manager.
You didn't?
Yeah, well, I really did. I forgot about that one, and probably the toughest person I ever got into a relationship with, and that was my wife. She managed.
That's what you were going to say.
My wife, Vicky.
And so where is she originally from?
She's from Canyon.
From Canyon. Did you really grow up in Canyon?
Yes, I did. I went to high school in Canyon, came down here, and at that time, it was many years ago, and Muleshoe was still pretty good back in high school football, and they put it to us a few times.
I remember though one time we were playing Canyon back in your era of high school football, and Muleshoe hadn't made a touchdown all year long, and we made a touchdown, and Canyon cheered as much as we did, and it was the last game of the season. We were in the same district together.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good deal.
And so now tell me about, what do you think was the hardest match you ever fought?
Gosh, that's a hard thing to say whenever you've had as many matches as I have, and
Well, one of them.
around the world. Many, as it. I've been in the ring with everybody from Lou Thez, who was a wonderful world's champion, to Gene Kiniski, a world's champion, to Harley Race, a world's champion, to The Rock, all the way up to the champions of the present date. Been very fortunate to have a very long career, and thankful of it, and it was a wonderful thing, is to start out here and then traveled all over the whole world, and was lucky enough to make a decent living at it too, and save a few bucks, Say, then I tried to save it, and I did, and so I'm just fine now, so I can sit in my backyard in a rocking chair and do exactly what I want to do.
So the ring was good to you.
Nothing.
The ring was good to you.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was. Sometimes the ring wasn't too good. It was pretty hard. Depend on where you wrestled,
But overall, looking at it, it was good.
It was.
And so now, what was the very last time you wrestled?
Oh gosh, that's the last time I wrestled was in Tokyo, Japan, and believe it or not, it was about a year ago.
Is that right?
And I'm going to wrestle again in Los Angeles at the Hilton out there, and Roddy Piper's going to be wrestling too. It's a bunch of old timers, and a bunch of old guys that shouldn't be getting in the ring anymore, and we're going to just play around a little bit and hope.
When will that be?
January the 27th.
Now, I ask you, did you ever wrestle your brother, Dory Jr.?
I want to say one thing, and I've been getting in shape too. I've been riding 15 to 20 miles a day on my bike and training very hard this time.
Well, good. So we'll be watching for that. Hey, did you ever fight at home your brother, Dory Jr.?
Oh my!
Was
God.
there just pleasantness everywhere?
Well, we kind of had a big, large kitchen area, and it had kind of a bar in there, a kitchen bar, where you eat breakfast and stuff, and I can always remember I'd get the first blow in and take off running, and I'd running around the bar, and he'd be chasing me. And if I could get up enough speed, I could go ahead and I could make it out the back door, before he caught me. I ran from him many times.
And so now you and Vicky have how many children?
We have 2 girls.
So no wrestlers.
No, I'll tell you what, they're both pretty tough, folk.
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
Now tell us about them and what they do today. What are their names?
Stacy and Brandy, and Stacy is she works with Southwest Airlines as a flight attendant, and Brandy is a nurse in Arizona.
And what about Stacy? Where does she live?
She lives in Amarillo.
In Amarillo. So she flies out of Amarillo.
Out of Amarillo, and her husband's a chiropractor, so if you guys ever need to go ahead and get straightened out and need to go to Amarillo, well, give him a call, Kelly Clinty.
And so I bet he's worked on you, hadn't he?
Well, a few times. He does a pretty good job.
We're so
Straighten me out.
We're so glad you know Jim Young.
Well,
And
I'm not so sure. I'm glad I know him.
we understand.
His wife's a better half.
Oh, isn't she though? She is a doll, and you both have good names.
Yeah, she and my wife used to be best of friends, and they used to be in the same sorority together, the Zetas.
At WT.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, so she was your college sweetheart.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. My high school sweetheart, and I'll tell you what, she went ahead and kind of picked me out whenever I was about in the 7th grade, I think it was, and she kind of latched on to me, and we've been together ever since. She'd tell a different story than that.
Well, should we give her equal time?
Well, I don't think you're going to get her up here for equal time.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming to Muleshoe and Carolyn's Florals and Gifts, and thank you for bearing with Jim Young all these years so this would all be possible. And, of course, he has a new book out, it's not real new. And what's the name of your autobiography?
What's the name of it, Vicki? More than hardcore.
More than hardcore.
Too. It's a good book.
And we encourage you to be sure and get a copy